Good evening, guys. It's your co-host here, Tiago's father, 89, and we are locked in for another episode of the Red Sea podcast. Tonight is the FAB 4 preview, and we are talking about everything Liverpool-Southampton. The Saints come to Anfield in a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday, looking to get a result. Slumped right at the bottom of the table, potentially fighting it out for that relegation. It's potentially a long time coming for Southampton. But Liverpool at the moment head into this fixture in a scintillating form off the back of a drubbing of Arsenal and a pretty clinical display at Porto on Wednesday. We talk about everything Southampton-Liverpool, everything that's Liverpool related in terms of lineups, potential comings, goers in terms of the lineup, and what that means for this fixture. But without further ado, let's get into the intro.
Tell the world. We are Liverpool, champions of England.
We've conquered all of Europe. We're never gonna stop. From Palestine to Turkey, we've won the fucking lot. But Paisley and the Shankly, the fields of Anfield gold. We are unsupported. And we come from Liverpool.
We are back. And today is the FAB 4 preview -2, which makes it the FAB 2. But it is what it is.
It's been a FAB 2 all week, isn't it?
It has indeed. Courtney's been yakking her guts up somewhere in a toilet and just left me and you to it, which ain't a bad thing.
Been all good with me.
Hopefully, Courtney...
feeling better soon.
That's it. Gets well soon, Courtney. Get well soon. And guys, yesterday we done our last ever Red Sea full time over at the NFC Day Trippers. And news for you is the show's not going away. The Red Sea full time will be over here on the Red Sea podcast as of Saturday after the Southampton game, where you can get all of your match reaction shows. But we're here to talk about everything that's Liverpool and Southampton.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, SS, if you want to jump into the head-to-heads for me, please, mate.
Absolutely, mate. So it wasn't actually that long ago that we played Southampton at Anfield. It was right at the back end of the season where we were having to win games with Phillips and Williams at the back. A cheeky 2-0 victory at home. Thiago and Mane on the score sheet that day, and we had to stay perfect, didn't we? We had to win every game to have any chance of coming in that top 4 position. So that was a good one out last time. The reverse fixture was all the way back in January. I think Danny Ings scored after about 2 minutes, a little lob. Trent kind of lost flight of the ball over the top of Alisson. And yeah, we just couldn't get back in the game. And again, we were struggling with injuries at the time. But before that, we had a run of 6 wins in a row, all in the Premier League. So most of the time, other than that loss in Jan, we've kind of had Southampton's number. So 7 wins in the last 8 is not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. I mean, Southampton are a team which have had some links with Liverpool over an extended period of time, right from decimating their whole team and club and nicking all their players over a sustained period of time, and then kind of keeping the good ones and binning off the really bad ones, Nathaniel Klein and Ricky Lambert. Lovren and co. But we've had some gems from Southampton, haven't we? You know, Sadio Mane from Southampton, Virgil van Dijk from Southampton, Adam Lallana also from Southampton, who was a great servant to the club in his time there. I think it was very difficult for Lallana with the injuries. When Klopp came in, he was arguably the first name on the team sheet, that hard-working trickery that he possessed. And he was also in a rich vein of form in terms of the England displays he was putting on. He's a player which reminded me of Joe Cole in the way that he used to play with that fantastic ball mastery and his fantastic skills. So Liverpool and Southampton had a good relationship until the Virgil van Dijk signing.
Yeah, that was a bit sketchy, wasn't it?
that was a bit sketchy. And since then, it's kind of formed the platform for how Liverpool go about their transfer business. Up until then, transfers were very public knowledge, and you know, it was all very much in the open because it was all kind of talk among friends. Yeah, we're going to sign this player. It's going to get done in the summer. He's coming in the summer. And Southampton said, really? No. No, it's not happening this summer, mate. It will happen
Threw
when
their
we
toys out
tell
the
you it
pram, didn't they?
happens. Yeah, they threw their toys out the pram, and rightly so. We were looking to sign their club captain at the time. The colossus that Virgil van Dijk is, and it was a lovely present under the Christmas tree.
Yeah,
Watching him, it was well worth the wait. Watching him cross over in that January, and then ultimately scoring his debut against Everton.
That was fantastic.
Which
FA
was
Cup, wasn't it?
sensational. FA Cup, and it was a fantastic header.
Yeah.
But as I said, relationships with Southampton have been strained ever since. And to be honest, I don't think they've got anything that we're really, really interested.
Not in a minute. I was looking for their team. It's pretty slim. I mean, other than Ward Prowse, who'd be a decent squad player for a top team. There's not.
I like Ward Prowse. Ward Prowse.
Yeah,
they've got a player. Yeah, they've got a player which I like as well. But we'll get onto that a little bit later on as well. So now we've covered off the head-to-heads. In the midweek, we saw massive rotation of the Liverpool lineup. Like, it was huge. It was like a whole change in the back four, essentially.
Yeah,
you had Konate come in, Matip come back in. You've then got Tsimikas, who keeps his place.
Yeah.
At the fullback position. Then you've got Nico Williams, which comes at the other fullback position as well.
Yeah.
So, and again, multiple changes all over the rest of the park. Minamino starts. Do we feel that Klopp's going to rotate again, and bring the big guns back in for this game?
I think so. I mean, the Porto game was a dead rubber. He did play Salah and Mane, which was a little bit surprising, but I think out of respect of the competition, and you assess them, don't you? And he looked at Van Dijk. He needed a rest. Fabinho needed a break. He's had a lot of travelling with Brazil. Robertson and Henderson were okay to play a part, but not from the start. And obviously Mane and Salah looked absolutely fine. So he put them in. So yeah, I expect to see a kind of return to the norm. I would expect Fabinho to start. I would expect Van Dijk to come back in. I would expect Jota to come back in. I think they're certs. Henderson, I'm quite sure will, with Thiago. I know Oxlade-Chamberlain, which we will get onto, has been playing better. And I think Tsimikas and Robertson could be a flip of a coin as well. But yeah, I do expect to see more kind of recognisable names, ones that you expect to see returning to the Prem, because there's no room for error in the league at the moment.
I have a different tact.
Go for it.
I think that he will rotate, but I don't think we'll see as many of those big guns come back in. I don't think Henderson will play.
Okay.
I don't think Hendo will play. Millie's fit.
Yeah, good to see him come back in midweek.
So I think Milner will play personally.
Okay.
Over Henderson. I don't think Thiago will play.
Wow.
I think Thiago will be rested. And I think
after that wonder goal.
I do. I think he'll be rested. And I think Ox will play personally. And I think Fabinho is an absolute shoo-in. He's a shoo-in. He has to play. And then in terms of the back four, I think that Verge will come back in. But I also think Gomez will get a run out.
He's still injured, isn't he?
Oh, is he? I thought he was back.
It's a shame with Gomez, because I was thinking about this today at work, weirdly. And I thought, Gomez is injured again. And the only reason no one's talking about it is because we've got 3 quality centre-backs that are fit. So, if they were injured, Gomez would be getting a little bit more, aggro, I think, being injured again. I think he's in big trouble. To be honest, at the top level, I think he could be on his way out if he carries on with this, because he's never ever available, and even when he is, he's realistically a 4th choice centre back now at Liverpool. So could we see a loan? Could we see a move for him in the summer? I think we aren't far away from that, to be honest, which is a shame, because I think he's brilliant.
I don't think that's the case with Joe Gomez. I think he's so young that there is still so much time on his side. I'm not being funny. You got players like Divock Origi still at the club.
Oh, 100%. I'm not in a rush to get rid of him.
So if Divock can survive this long, Joe Gomez has got years. He's got years before there's any pressure.
I'd love him to get back to fitness and form and start to get some game time, because him and Van Dijk next to each other was absolutely solid for a good year.
It was potentially the Premier League winning partnership, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah. It was.
So it's the partnership that brought the Premier League back to Anfield. So there's no reason why, Joe Gomez can't kind of force his way back in. And ultimately, the reason why I say that he's got so long and he's so well regarded at the club, you look at his age. What's he, 23? 23, 24?
Yeah, 24, 25, I think now.
I don't think he's that old. Let's have a look at this. let's have a look. What we say in SS? 23?
I'm going to check now. He's 24. So there you go.
24. Okay,
so plenty of time.
He's got plenty of time.
10 years.
This is why I don't see him getting forced out of the club anytime soon. I think he's been incredibly unlucky with that injury. That injury was nasty. That was a nasty injury. So any game time he gets this season, I think he'll be grateful for. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean he's looked. The problem with me is with him, it's the Chamberlain thing, isn't it? Even when you are fit, can you get a consistent run in the team? Because if you just get dropped in, I remember him playing in the Carabao Cup. He was all over the shop. I can't remember if it was Preston. I think he was all over the place. Which it was a poor opponent, but because he'd not played for so long, he really struggled. And then you think, okay, well, let's build on that. You've got the cobwebs out of the way, and then he's injured again. And again, as I say, if we didn't have Konate, if Matip was doing his usual Matip injuries and Van Dijk hadn't recovered quite as well as he has done, because let's be fair, he's pretty much played in every big game we've needed him to play, and internationally as well. I think Joe Gomez would be getting a little bit more heat of being injured again. But to be fair, it's kind of been swept under the rug, isn't it, that he's not been available? And like you said, you didn't realise he was out.
No, and I think from that perspective, this is why I feel like he's going to get time, because we are so well stocked now.
Yeah.
In the centre back areas, we kept hold of Nat Phillips because we didn't quite know what was going to happen.
That's right.
with Gomez and Van Dijk. We didn't know if they were going to return in the same way, or if they were going to return in the same way. Van Dijk has. Joe Gomez is still picking up. I think it was a muscular injury, wasn't it, that he got?
Yeah, it's just a long list of casualties at the minute.
He's picking up a muscular injury, which is to be expected coming back after that type of injury. I think that Liverpool always knew that, this season would be hit and miss for Joe Gomez. You've got Joel Matip, who was by everybody's he has surprised everybody.
Yeah.
He is surprised.
Really consistent.
He's been super consistent. Whatever you guys are doing in that treatment room, those massages, whatever he's eating, whatever he's doing, keep it up, because we've not seen this run of games out of Joel Matip for a long, long, long time. If ever, have we seen this run of games out of Joel Matip.
2019, when we won the Champions League, that was kind of the best run he'd had for probably in his Liverpool career, other than when he was playing alongside Lovren. But I just want to quickly just jump in here. Yes. Welcome, Stephen. Big up, lads. First time here. These games in the Prem are going to be like a cup final, as Chelsea potentially they're running away with it. If you've come across from the LFC Day Tripper, Stephen, which you may have done, massive welcome and thank you for subscribing.
Yeah, thank you for joining us over here at the Red Sea Podcast. I mean, I'm happy to delve into that.
Yeah,
I think that there's a lot of football to be played. I also think Chelsea are on a superb run, but the fixtures have been kind in terms of the caliber of team that they're playing. Come January, they start bumping into people like us again.
Yeah.
So that's when the league is potentially going to be won and lost in those head-to-heads. At the moment, it was a draw in the last fixture. Do we then go and pump them and then take the initiative and go forward? I think so too. I think we're still in this. We're very much still in it.
And it's 4 points and we're in November. So
we hang on to the coattails and then we pick up the points at the back end of the season. We still got to play Manchester City again. We still got to play Chelsea. We'll have to play United. All those teams that are in and around there. Yeah, I think that we can beat those teams heading into the next part of the season. But yeah, just as we digress quickly, I don't think that Joe Gomez's Liverpool career, even if it's a summer or next summer, I think he's got plenty of credit in the bank,
Mm. I hope so.
to try and get himself
Yeah.
back to the level which we know. But if that's not the case, Konate might keep his place. I don't really see us throwing Matip in to that situation. We don't really need to. I mean,
Yeah.
who have we got in the following Premier League fixture?
Is it Everton midweek?
I think it's
Potentially?
Everton, isn't it?
I think it might be, yeah.
So you look at Southampton, the caliber of the opponent. Surely we kind of say, right, go on then, Konate, go in there with Verge. This is a nice game for you. Go in there with Verge. You say to Trent, come back in, because realistically there are no real other options there. Nico Williams had a decent game midweek, but Premier League wise, Trent is elite. And then at the left back, Costas, I would like to see keep his place. And then Robbo come in against Everton, because that gives Robbo a nice break.
I mean, it's an interesting one because, you know, we felt like we've been on the show every day this week just because there's, you know, been so many fixtures. But to be fair, you know, you've got this weekend, you've got Southampton, 4 days later, you've got Everton, 3 days later, you've got Wolves, 3 days later, you've got Milan, 4 days later, you've got Villa, 5 days later, you've got Newcastle, 3 days later, you've got Spurs, 3 days later, you've got Leicester, 4 days later, you've got Leeds, 2 days after that, you've got Leicester. It's constant. From now, we don't have a week off. It's 2, 3, 4 day breaks now. So rotation.
There's some banana skins in there, though, isn't there? There's some banana skins in there.
It's gonna be key to rotate, and it's gonna be key, like you said, mate, to keep an eye on Van Dijk, keep an eye on Matip, keep an eye on Chamberlain, Henderson, all these players that tend to pick up knocks. Thiago, another one. We need to be really, really careful.
This is slippy. This is a bit tricky season, isn't it?
Squeaky bum time.
Yeah, it is squeaky bum time. You mentioned Wolves. You mentioned, do you know what? Villa. That's going to be an emotionally charged fixture. It's going to be emotionally charged. Those boys are going to be up for it. They're going to be well up for it, because they're going to want to lay a marker down. Not for any real reason apart from their new manager is Steven Gerrard. Gerrard will want to get a result. Of course he will. You know, deep down inside, whilst he loves Liverpool Football Club, he's there to do a job.
100%.
He's going to want to get a result. So that worries me. Leicester are a bogey team at the moment. They're just yo-yoing anywhere between 13th and 7th. They're just yo-yoing between those positions.
Very unpredictable.
Very unpredictable. You never know what Leicester team's going to turn up. You know, massive shout out to you, Ultra Freestyle Swordsman. Wolves are 6th in the Premier League.
Good team.
You know, their new coach has got them playing some decent football. It was a bit shaky when he went in there, but they've now found a way of playing that suits them.
Yeah, and beat West Ham at the weekend.
And beat West Ham, a team that we lost to.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a difficult fixture. So you're right. Rotation is going to be key, and it's the partnerships that we put in.
Yeah.
That are gonna work on, or that we need to work on being effective.
100%.
So, one player that we're going to focus a little bit of attention on is the Ox.
Yeah.
For me personally, right now, in the form that he's in, knowing Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's a confidence player. Yeah, he's undroppable.
It's an interesting one because I was watching the Red Sea Down Under earlier as well, and they touched on Ox, that the guys are Australian brothers, and I kind of agree. You know, Chamberlain is one of them players that you can't just put in, and you know, we always moan that he's never available, never consistent because of his injury, and then when he is fit, if you start putting him in and taking him out again, you're kind of doing exactly what we say isn't good for him. But at the same time, Henderson, Thiago, and Fabinho are fit. Henderson, Thiago, and Fabinho play. However, we've got Everton midweek. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be tough from now to Christmas to pick that midfield free, because when we have rotation options in there, you know, it's always been known as the engine room. You have to. You physically can't play these guys every 3 days for 90 minutes. So if Chamberlain can stay fit over this period and we can manage his minutes well, it could be a big season for him.
For me personally, he plays against Southampton. Yeah. I don't think he plays against Everton.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say Decore will be back in that midfield for Everton. yeah, and we're going to need to have the lion's share of the ball against Everton, which I think we will. Everton will sit back and try and counter attack. Calvert-Lewin potentially maybe fit again as well. Set pieces, pumping the ball forward off that big kick that Pickford's got, playing that long ball, one-dimensional kind of football that Benitez for some reason has started to play, maybe through lack of talent in the squads that he's managed of late, because we always referred to or remember Benitez as being a master tactician, someone who's able to change the game and be creative with the way that his players play. He hasn't been able to do that at Newcastle. He hasn't been able to do that at Everton so far.
Yeah,
so
they're shocking.
Yeah, they've been shocking, but but again, injuries. They've had injuries. Decore out, Calvert-Lewin out. That's a big part of what they're doing. So it's not me buying Everton any credit here. Everton are a true threat in terms of the way that they can play football. This is why I think Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho is the midfield against Everton.
Yeah,
because
wouldn't disagree.
we need to dictate the ball. So I think Ox could potentially be dropped for that. But bearing that, and drop is a harsh word. Rotated.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think he's done enough
Rotated.
in the last few games to you look at Southampton and you look at Everton and you know, yes, they're very similar teams at the moment in terms of performances. But as you've correctly said, mate, Everton are going to be well up for it, and they always are. It's their cup final. No matter when they play Liverpool. All Everton season is all it does is revolve
Can
around.
we
Did we
beat
beat Liverpool this year? Oh yeah, we had a good season then.
Yes. Mate, that is so true. Everton fans, all they do is they go, oh, let's look in the paper. Get the paper out. Oh, there's a Liverpool fixture. That one. Oh, and we're playing in the next year as well. That's the one.
Let's circle that one. That's the only one that matters. Lose, doesn't matter. Beat Liverpool. Yes.
Get the red pen out. Yeah.
That's the date for me.
Do you know what I mean? We're down the pub for a couple bevies for this one.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? You're right. That's just where they're at. If they beat Liverpool, it seems like a successful season. So you're right. They're going to be well up for it. This is why I feel, Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho is the midfield for that game. Ox to be rotated. But just to delve more into the Ox, I just think that, like you said, he's on a run of games where he's playing some very good football. We are seeing the best out of the Ox since 2018. We're seeing the best out of him since 2018.
The last time he played 3-4 games in a row since then, or featured in 3 or 4 in a row.
But you have to give him his flowers, because you spoke about this, and credit to you on this one, lad, because you said this.
Yeah.
Ox or Keita is fighting for their life. They're fighting for their Liverpool careers. And Ox was out injured. Keita came in and started to do some of the business, although he had a couple of little niggly injuries in between then. He kind of firmed it through and went in and played some decent football, was good in the Man United game, and then got injured again. Ox has said, okay, this is my chance. And me personally, Ox is ahead of him.
He is at the moment.
In terms of the performances that I've seen from Keita and Ox, I prefer Oxlade's performances. He's busy. He's rugged. He's dogged. He's getting tucked into challenges. He's winning the ball retention, getting us on the front foot, pace, power, aggression in his performances. The only thing that's missing from a vintage Alex Oxlade performance is an absolute banger.
Yeah,
we're missing a screamer. If we see a screamer against Southampton, he's back.
Yeah,
he's back.
I'm there for it.
If we see a screamer, if we see that burst from the midfield where he just shrugs the man on and pushes forward into that space and unleashes a god almighty banger, Ox is back.
Yeah, I'm
100%. 100%.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, he's definitely taken his chance, because Jones is out, Elliott's out, Keita's out, Thiago and Henderson have struggled and eventually come back into the team. And to be fair to him, as we've always said, the backup brigade, whatever you want to call them, when you are called upon, you expect them to come in, make an impact, and perform. And that's what he's done. Can't ask for more.
100%, and that's what we've always said. We just want you to come in and contribute, and he's done that. He's done that. I feel like he's he's found his role in the team. He knows he's not a starter to a degree, but when needed, he's come in and he's contributed. That's
He's,
all
he's,
that you
he's a
can
great,
ask
yeah.
for.
If he's fit, he's a great squad player. He's the English quota. You know, you have to have a certain amount of English players in your squad as well, homegrown, etc., etc. So again, yeah, Antio Chill, spot on. No, everybody knows what he brings. It's just, can he stay fit? Can he contribute? And so far, touch wood, he has done. But you know, that run of fixtures over the Christmas period, if our injury-prone players start getting some injuries, we're going to be looking very bare bones come the end of December.
I totally agree with you. And LJ with a stellar question, but we're going to save that one for the end of the show. Yeah, we might jump into a little Q&A at the end of the show.
Yeah, I like those.
I know that a couple of you have got a few questions there, and you've thrown another one up there, LJ, as well. So save that one for a little bit later. So we'll come back to that one at the end. I mean, let's jog it on slightly because, as I said, I think that the Ox is undroppable. But let's talk about Southampton danger men, or the lack of them. To be honest, a player
got they sell.
Yeah, I know. A player which has really impressed me. I've been very, very impressed by this player. Is Livramento.
Yeah,
he's looked absolutely fucking flames.
Mm.
Like there's no other way to describe it. He has looked flames. Like getting on the ball, getting forward, delivery, goals. And do you know what? I hate Chelsea Football Club. I hate them with a passion. Like, I hate them. Yeah. Like, do you know what? Hate is not strong enough. Despise.
That's a better word.
I despise.
I can't, because my son's next to me and he's a Chelsea fan.
Warren, I despise Chelsea. Despise.
He's like, European champions, mate. That's what he says.
Listen,
Top of the league.
Listen, son, you can shake your head as much as you want, my man. I despise them. But one thing I will give Chelsea credit for, and nothing else, is their academy is
unbelievable.
Light years. It's unbelievable. They are churning players out of Cobham. It's unreal. And if you look at it, you've got Reece James, who's arguably doing the business at the moment. He's on smoke. He's on fire. You know, credit where credit's due. Give him his flowers. He's playing some serious ball.
Yeah.
Lamptey, who plays in the same position as him, had to leave to go and start to play sustained football, and went to Brighton and has looked again outstanding, pacey, aggressive, determined, hard to beat. There's a bit of end product there. I don't think Lamptey's on the same level as Reece, hence why Reece has stayed at the club. Yeah, Lamptey's gone and got game time at Brighton. You then look at this other kid who out of nowhere has just popped up, and another Chelsea youth product. Fearless, getting forward, end product. The only question mark over him is defensively. I don't think he's that great defensively, hence why Reece got the nod over him. But there's rumours of a potential buyback clause for Chelsea. I mean, I don't think they need it, but he's doing very well.
I mean, like you say, I don't really think they need to, because you got Hudson Odoi is another one that can play wing back for them. Another youth prospect. You know, Chalobah has started to come into that back five now, and he looks like an athlete that could play anywhere across that back five as well. So, you probably would look at the youth team in Chelsea now, and there's probably a brilliant right back in the under 18s right now as well. So, whether it's just a right back factory that they keep churning out of Chelsea, but Mount as well is another one. So brilliant players coming out of that academy. But yeah,
they've had loads.
In terms of Southampton, they've got everyone that they've kind of had as any good has moved on. But the fact that Livramento's come in and Kyle Walker-Peters, who's primarily a right back, has had to move across to left back, shows you just how good he's been.
100%. And ultimately, that for me is, like you said, is a testament to how decent he's been. He's come in and he's been a breath of fresh air. Arguably in a season where Southampton were probably tipped to be fighting relegation, and they are teetering in and around that kind of segment there. What a brave move from the kid to say, do you know what? I'll go there and challenge myself.
100%. Yeah. I mean, there was Bertrand as well. Did something similar, didn't he? Did the same journey, Chelsea to Southampton.
Yeah, you're right. But at the time when Bertrand joined there, Southampton were actually doing all right. They had some players in there. You know, you had your Lovrins there. You had your Virgil van Dijks in and around there. You know, they had some, you know, Sadio Mane was in and around that scene as well. Lallana was in and around there also. Southampton were actually, you know, kind of threatening to be a decent side with Ronald Koeman at the helm. You know, and then obviously Pochettino coming through after. You know, actually threatening to be a decent side.
Yeah, I just don't get where Southampton are going at the minute, because I look at their summer business, and I mentioned Bertrand moves to Leicester, Vestergaard moves to Leicester. You sell Danny Ings to Aston Villa. Let's be fair. At the moment, Aston Villa and Southampton are on the same page. No one is better than the other. It's such a sideways sale. You know, if you're going to lose your best player, at least lose them to a top 6 team. Don't sell them to a direct rival for a top half finish. So I don't really get what the plan is at Southampton anymore, because they've not spent any of the money that they've made from selling players on anybody of any note that I can tell. James Ward-Prowse is for me their best player by an absolute mile.
Oh, light years. Now Vestergaard's gone. Now Vestergaard's
gone. Yeah, he's there. But I mean, the why he signed a new 5-year deal, I don't know. I think he needs to move on as well, because, as you say, I think they're sitting in 13th, 14th at the minute. You would expect the teams around them to start picking up points. And, you know, Southampton last time out lost to Norwich. So they're going to want to bounce back. But I think they're in trouble. I don't see anybody other than Ward-Prowse in that team that's going to pull them out of the mire if they go on a bad run.
I do too, but let's just deep the Ward-Prowse thing, because there were tentative links with Liverpool a couple of seasons ago with Ward-Prowse. He is a sensational striker of the ball.
Yeah, quality.
In terms of his delivery, his free kicks, like he's quality. The only person I feel hits the ball better than him in the Premier League is Trent.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, because when he hits the ball, it stays hit. Yeah, he scores some absolute bangers from dead ball situations. But realistically, what team does he get into other than Southampton? Where does he go? Where does he go and play centre midfield? Because he plays centre midfield in a top 6 team. Because Southampton are a top 6 team. They're a top 10 team.
I think he'd be great at Spurs.
I don't think he gets into their midfield.
I think he would. I think Ndombele looks like he's moving on. I don't rate Winks. I don't rate Ali. I don't rate Skip. I think Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse is a good start for them to start rebuilding.
You don't rate Skip?
No.
You don't rate Winks either?
No. They're just Joe Allens. Get the ball. Pass it sideways. Tell away you're facing. Nice and easy, lads.
Oh God, they're just Joe Allens. No, listen. The thing is with, and look, like Harry Winks, yeah. The thing is with Harry Winks, if he was
don't say
called
it.
What? Go on.
Winks Senior. If he was Winks Senior, we'd be worth 100 mil. Oh, these Spurs fans that tell me Winks and Skip are brilliant, and then I say, "Where are you in the league? What happened to Spurs tonight? They lost to a Slovenian team who were the lowest ranked team in the Conference League."
Listen, let's be clear. If he was Spanish, honestly, no, and this is how fickle football is, right? If he was Spanish, everybody would be raving, going, "Oh, the ball retention stupendous! Oh my God, look at the way that he manipulates the ball and dictates play from a deep position and all of that." I hear it. I don't think Winks is better than Spurs. He can't move on to a better team. Nor do I think that he's beneath Spurs because of where Spurs are at the moment. Ward-Prowse, I just don't see the fit in the Spurs in a Spurs team. I personally think that Ward-Prowse's best position would be at right back.
Wow.
Honestly, I think he would make a solid right back. Solely because of that delivery.
I just don't think he's got the pace to be a fullback.
Milner didn't, and Milner shut it down for a whole season.
Yeah, but that was 4 years ago.
Oh, not Milner now. Milner couldn't do that now, but I'm saying 4 years ago, James Milner was absolutely sensational. I just think in the modern game, especially with the way that Liverpool play, you could play him there and he would be devastating.
Yeah,
in that position.
I get what you're saying. He's got the attributes of a Trent on the ball to put that delivery anywhere you like. And David Beckham, similar. Football isn't played with a flat 4 midfield anymore, left mid and right mid. But
it's not.
Ward-Prowse basically could play there and do a similar job for sure. But I think he he influences games really well at Southampton because he's in the
Yes.
middle. And the reason he plays midfield for them is because he's their best player. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think he could move up to a serious club and definitely do a job anywhere on the pitch. But for me, I think he'll see how this season goes. There's going to be a lot of transfers in the summer, I think, compared to last year, because we've had a couple of windows that have been affected by COVID, and we're slowly getting back to normality. So yeah, he's the only one for me. We need to avoid giving away any free kicks whatsoever tomorrow, because he could put it in from absolutely anywhere.
And you're right. I think that's going to be their avenue. I think that will be their avenue. They'll look to hit us on the counter attack.
Yeah,
Because
Adams and Armstrong.
Yeah, I don't think Southampton are scared of playing that way. I don't think they're scared of necessarily conceding. It's like you've always said before. This is like a free hit for them. They're coming to Anfield against arguably one of the most informed teams in the Premier League, if not Europe.
There's kind of no pressure. I mean, I know they lost to Norwich last time out, so they kind of need to put that right. But everybody's going to look at Southampton. If they lose 5-0, it's like, well, yeah, it's Liverpool. They can do that to anyone.
All the headlines will be Liverpool's. Win, lose, or draws. All the headlines are Liverpool. If we go out and batter Southampton, it'll be like Liverpool was scintillating.
Yeah.
They destroyed Southampton. If Southampton beat us, it will be Liverpool were poor. They weren't good enough. If it's a draw, a lackluster performance from the Liverpool team. Southampton are never going to take the headlines in this game. Agreed. So it is literally a free hit for them. They can come and get rolled over, or they can come and give it a try. And if they come and give it a try and still get rolled over, the media's not going to get ducked into them. Their supporters are not going to be calling up in their droves saying the manager has to go. There isn't that expectation on Southampton anymore. I think they reached that point under Pochettino where it was like, there's an expectation here now that we should be trying to push into European places.
Yeah. I just don't see the ambition anymore. And this manager's already lost to Man United and to Leicester 9-0. Wouldn't it be nice to make it a third?
But this is what I'm saying. You're right. Where is the ambition now? We looked at a club and almost they kind of looked like the model at that time was buy them cheap.
Yeah. Youth team was good as well.
Youth team products were decent as well. Buy them cheap. Yeah. Stack them high. Yeah. Sell them for major profit.
Absolutely.
And I almost feel that they've exasperated that now. They've done too much of that. There needed to be a period of consolidation where they turn around and said, "No, we're not selling our very best. We're going to consolidate now because we want to be a team which now pushes on from that. That model only works for so long if you're a Southampton,
and that's why I don't get
so far.
Absolutely, and that's why I don't get the Danny Ings sale. If they'd have just signed a 19-year-old amazing young striker to replace him, 100%. But they brought in Adam Armstrong, who'd been at Blackburn last year and did well in the Championship. Not really Danny Ings Premier League consistent goal scorer for Southampton last season. And Che Adams is another one. Came in from Birmingham, still a bit untested at this level. So I completely agree with you. I think they've kind of sold too many before they've refilled them coming through, because they've not, they've had Bale, they've had Walcott, they've had Oxlade-Chamberlain come through the youth team, and the only youth player that's really any good is not their own, like you mentioned, it's from Chelsea. So I think they could be in trouble, to be fair, this season. And I know Norwich and I know Newcastle are right down there, Burnley as well. But they're
Burnley need to go. Burnley need to fucking go.
Burnley have got Spurs, so you never know. But
I'm sick to death of seeing Burnley now. Like they listen, those shit houses have outstayed their welcome in the Premier League for long. I fucking don't know how they are still in the Premier League. Those shit houses need to go.
Me and Tarkowski are absolute heroes. How they've kept that team in the Premier League, I don't know. They are unbelievable.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm actually saying. How?
I don't know.
How have they been flirting? Mate, they got into Europe. How?
They actually did.
How did this happened?
They signed like a 34-year-old Aaron Lennon, who was only good because he had pace.
He's back there now. He's back.
Yeah, he disappears for 2 years and then they re-sign him again.
He goes to Turkey.
Yeah,
decides
I think that's the end of him.
Yeah, live it up for a little bit, and all of a sudden you've got Sean Dice going. We've signed Aaron Lennon because we wanted to bring in a bit of quality. Yeah, we thought that Aaron had what it took to actually, provide that little bit of an uplift to the group. And Aaron's come in and been great. He's been a fantastic professional since he's come in, and I'm really, really pleased with what Aaron's done so far. No, get out of the Premier League.
That's the best Dyche impression I've ever heard in my life.
Get out of the Premier League. I've had enough. I've literally had enough of hearing your husky porn star voice. I've had enough.
That was amazing.
Oh my
brilliant.
Sweet Lord!
Well, I think they're going to be down there. I think Southampton are going to be within the last month of the season, needing some results.
I do too, but not before Dyche's Burnley. If we flicked a coin, right, and someone said heads is Southampton to go down or tails is Burnley to go down, I'm going tails, freaking tails.
You go tails every day.
Yeah, every day. Get those out of the league. Shit house teams. Oh, sweet Jesus! Right, we're moving to the part of the show which you love and I hate.
Yes.
Which is the score predictions.
Mm-hmm.
So, SS, you're not going to go first.
Okay.
I'm going to go first. And guys in the comments as well, smash the like button. Hit us with your score predictions also. With the Red Sea Podcast, you can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube under the Red Sea Podcast as well. If you're not already, please make sure that you are liking and subscribing to all the content. There are some absolute gems in there, I have to say. Right, so score prediction. How many? How many is it going to be?
Well, had a good week. 6 in and none conceded.
If we put 5 past, it was Watford we put 5 past, wasn't it?
Yeah. 4 past Arsenal, 5 past United.
4 past Arsenal, 5 past United. Jesus Christ. Jesus. All right, I'm going to go super brave.
Go on.
I think it's going to be emphatic. I don't even think it's going to be respectable.
Oh, wow. We're going 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I think personally they're going to get cricket scored. Yeah, I think we go 4-0 up. Oh no, excuse me, 3-0 up in the first half, and then after that, they'll just come out and they'll be there for the taking. So I'm going 7-1.
Wow.
I'm going 7-1, and the reason why I'm saying 7-1 is because, like I said, I think the floodgates will open. I think Mane's going to be at it. I think Salah's going to be at it. I think Jota will be at it. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be emphatic. But I don't think we'll stop them from scoring. The only reason why I don't think we'll stop them from scoring is because we'll get a little bit reckless in the pursuit of just playing them off the park. So they might nick. Not sod it. 7-0. They ain't scoring.
Quick correction.
Yeah, they ain't scoring.
7-0. I mean, to be fair, I think clean sheet number 3 of the week is coming. Addison had a shocker against West Ham, and to be fair to him, clean sheet against Arsenal, clean sheet against Porto, clean sheet against Southampton. I look at these games at 3:00 on a Saturday, and I always think they lack a little bit of atmosphere. For me, when they're not televised, it's one of them. I think when you've got United, big Super Sunday game, Saturday night against Arsenal, Watford on an early kickoff, I get the goals, the skittles coming in. So I'm going to go for more conservative 2-0. I think we managed this game really, really professionally. I don't think we're going to try and go into any sweat because we've got some big fixtures coming up, big fixture congestion coming up. I think you're right. I think the rotation continues. I would expect to see some big names return, but I would expect to see different ones have a rest as well. So I think 1-0 in the first half, 1-0 in the second half, obviously for 2-0 overall. And I think the likes of Salah and the likes of Mane get withdrawn potentially after that second goal goes in. So yeah, 2-0 for me.
Nah.
I'd love your one better.
I think it's going to be a statement, and the reason why I think it's going to be a statement is because I think Klopp is probably acutely aware that goal difference is going to matter at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I
mean, Mo Salah's already 3 goals clear of anybody else in the Golden Boot. He's going to want to build on that. He's 9 clear of Kane. And I had a 20 quid bet with my mate at the start of the season who scored more goals this season. I think I might have won that one.
Yeah, Harry Kane. Who? No, I think that it's going to be emphatic. Personally, right. Because I think goal difference could potentially play a part as the season goes on. I think.
Big shout out to LJ as well. Indian viewer here came from Day Trippers post-match show. Boom, that's what we wanted. Love your shows. Looking forward to frequent shows, and I like the fact how you guys are thorough in your show and talk specifically LFC. You're very welcome to the channel.
Yes, mate. Welcome. Tell a friend. Tell one. Tell them all. Yeah. Come over and
wouldn't it be good? Because we've got Red Sea down under. Wouldn't it be good to get an Indian contingent as well? How good would that be?
100%.
Liverpool fans over there.
If you're interested, drop us a DM. Ultra Freestyle Swordsman, before you go nuts, I have seen your DMs, and I have seen DMs from Ryan Mental as well. Just been mega busy with the 9 to 5. To be fair, so
yeah, we'll get you guys involved soon.
We will. Yeah, Mo looks hungry. No one will stop him. 5-0. Yeah, I think he's going to help himself to a bag, mate.
Yeah,
I really do. Right, quick Q&A before we disappear off.
Oh, before we disappear off your screens, his famous last words as he does. So yeah, Q&A. Hopefully James will be back with us very, very shortly. But there were some really good questions earlier on in the show. Just before we disappear off your screens, James, as he disappears. So what was the question? It was this one, wasn't it? The first one you wanted to ask, I think you brought up.
Yeah. That was a good one from LJ. Hi guys, question. What do you think to the front three during AFCON? This is stress. This is real stress. Solely because Mane and Salah are gone. They're gone to the AFCON. Yeah, they're going, right?
It's a good solid month as well.
Yeah, Naby Keita ain't going anywhere. Apart from to the treatment table. So I ain't worried about that.
He can just be injured. He can just be injured for Guinea rather than us.
Exactly. No, I just think from a front three perspective, Firmino should be fit by then. Jota is there and available. You forget that we've got Origi. You forget that we've got Minamino. But at the same time, I would like us to sign somebody in January. There's been recent links with Adama Traore.
Not again.
That seem to be. Do you know what? They seem to be gathering a little bit of pace. That Adama Traore thing seems to be gathering a bit of pace. Whether we like it or not, I think the thing with Adama Traore is that he's not had a manager like Klopp. He's not had that type of manager which will demand greatness. He's got every single attribute to be an absolute beast. To be a beast. I think personally, you get him in and around someone like Klopp. I think he'll drop some weight as well. Because I think he'll have to if he wants to play at the highest level. You can't be slugging that around for 90 minutes. That's why he's always picking up muscular injuries. Because he's a highly strung athlete, that burst of pace, that burst of power. You can't be slugging that muscle mass around for 90 minutes. So someone somewhere, a good nutritionist, a good dietitian will turn around and say to him, "Nah, you need to drop some of that weight." And he would be unreal. You know, pace, power, aggression. He's got a shot on him.
He's got no end product for me.
No, you're right. He hasn't. The end product is poor. It is piss poor right now. It's hitting hope, the end product. But we've seen that with individuals. And when they come into the tutelage of someone like Klopp, that's unreal. Someone jumped in here, may as well throw 10 mil extra
to say exactly
on top for Rafinha. I don't think right now, the challenge that you got, Adama Traore is probably £30 million. Yeah. Liverpool have been able to be very creative with the Jota signing, 5 million up front, and the rest on drip.
That was brilliant.
On the never. That's fantastic.
No more Wolves players.
No, but I'm just saying, it's 5 million on up front and the rest on the drip. That's sensational business.
Really good.
Yeah. Another player at Wolves, Neto. Another product. And a lot of people arguably said, why are we signing Jota and not Neto?
Well, I wasn't one.
No, there were a lot of people out there. No, not Liverpool fans.
Oh, okay.
Rival fans going, you signed the wrong man. Well, clearly we haven't.
No,
clearly we haven't. We've got it spot on. But Neto's another example of someone we could potentially be interested in. But if you looked at it and said, who would I rather have? Of course, I'd have Rafinha.
Yeah, every day.
Rafinha is on smoke. But at the moment, Leeds are in a bit of a sticky situation.
Yep.
Yeah. You're trying to go into Leeds and take their best player. It's going to cost you serious dough, especially in a January. It's going to cost you serious.
They're not selling him in Jan because that's basically admitting defeat to the relegation if he goes, isn't it? So Calvin Phillips will be looking around going,
what's the ambition?
Where are we going here?
What's the ambitions? Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
In terms of the question from LJ with the front three, I look at the African nations dates, 9th of Jan to the 6th of Feb. Okay. We play Chelsea on the 2nd of Jan. So Salah and Mane could be there for that. That's a whole week before the African nations even starts.
They'll be there. They'll be there for that game.
They might need to shoot off straight away after that game for a warm-up match, for some training camp, etc., to get a flight. But you would hope that, they would at least be able to say, do you know what, because it's such a big game, we'll stay for that one. So after that, we've got home to Brentford, away to Crystal Palace. And the African Nations finishes on the 6th of February. We've then got Leicester on the 9th. So if Mo Salah and Sadio Mane don't reach the final, they could be back for that Leicester game as well. So, best case, we need Jota and Firmino plus another for Brentford and Palace. So it's actually not as big a deal as I thought it was initially, really. Say they do both get to the final against each other. All right, we've got Jota, Firmino, and another for Leicester, and after that we've got them both back. So I'm not as worried as I was before. Of course, I'd much prefer them both to be here for every game. But if Jota and Firmino stay fit, that's 2 of the 4 that you wouldn't you wouldn't shake your head at if they lined up in any game, because they're 3 of that 4 you pick on a weekly basis anyway.
I agree. I think that you're right. It's not going to be so much of a loss. I still think we'll dip into the market though.
Yeah, I would love to.
I still think we'll dip into the market in the January. There's a good one here. Again, what do you think to the situation around Klopp twisting the journalist comments for the AFCON? Like, journalists do that all the time. They do that just to try and print stories. It's made front page now.
That's a joke, isn't it? I mean, it's you have to remember he is German. Like, I know he's very, 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 very good at speaking English and is absolutely fluent. But when you say a little competition, he doesn't actually mean it's a little competition. He just means it's a little competition that kind of gets in the way of what we're doing, which it does.
It does.
It's not belittling at all.
I don't understand. I've never understood why the AFCON is played at that time. Can someone shed some light on this?
They did change it for a year, and then I think they held it in the summer. But obviously, the heat, I think, is probably the issue.
Essentially,
which I get, but for me, this is the thing that annoys me, because let's be fair, Africa as a country is still, as a continent, is still a developing continent, isn't it? Really, overall. So these African footballers that are sensational, the African players we've seen, Eto'o, Essien, Drogba, George Weah, unbelievable talents, and they fly their flags with pride for their countries, and they use a lot of their money to give back to their families at home, to their communities at home. You look at what Sadio Mane did. There was an Amazon documentary on Sadio Mane and the work he's done in his home country.
Hospitals, schools.
Absolutely sensational.
Rebuilding communities,
100%. So why would you then want to pull all the best African players in the world out of their clubs in a really busy period, which to some, if you're signing a player in the summer and you think, oh, it's him or him, and there's an African nations in January, like, well, okay, well, I'll pick this guy then because I don't want to lose my best player for 4 weeks. Why would you want to make it harder for your own players to, you're pulling them all out of their best teams
There's an incredible
during the season. It's mental.
You make an interesting point there, and it's something that we should examine, because there's an incredible amount of pride and loyalty from African players. Like, playing for their country is unreal for those players. And when you see the images on TV of the AFCON, it's mental. You think about like remember in the World Cup with the Vuvuzela?
Yeah.
Mate, they've been doing that in the AFCON for years.
Yeah.
They've been doing that. And it came to the World Cup and people were like, wow, that is unreal. But that was an AFCON thing. It was huge.
Yeah.
You think about the drums, the culture, the dancing, the singing, 100%. The whole stadium rocking, like, it's unreal. So for the AFCON, whilst these players generate a huge amount of money to give back to their continent or to their countries where they come from, they rebuild communities, schools, hospitals, amenities, running water, anything those communities need, these players give back.
Absolutely.
The AFCON probably gives more in terms of that community, because it brings in whatever country's hosting it, it brings in all the African teams and their supporters, because they follow their supporters so heavily. Like, it's a cult kind of thing. Look at us. We ain't fussed about whether England winning in the friendlies and whatever not. Bro, when these guys play a friendly, they're showing out. Like, they're all there. Like, sometimes you see empty seats at Wembley. There's no empty seats in African games. Those guys are there.
Oh, there's some serious teams and some serious players, isn't there?
Serious teams.
Ivory Coast, Cameroon have both had brilliant teams. Ghana, Nigeria have always been strong. Lately, the Northern African teams of Algeria and Egypt have even started to dominate as well.
Exactly. And how great is it as well that we haven't had George Ware won the World Player of the Year, it was at the time, which is now the Ballon d'Or. Yeah. Can you imagine if Mo Salah lifts a Ballon d'Or, what that does for Africa?
Unbelievable. He deserves it.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I think personally, it's a good thing. But I do question, only from a selfish perspective, from a Premier League perspective, I do question the timing. And it's funny, I can't remember what manager it was that said something very similar. It was a top manager that was talking about signing African players, and that it is a difficult decision when you think about the AFCON and where it comes to, especially if you've got a lot of African players in your team.
I mean, you can't overload, can you? If you've got 5 African players in your first 11, which is not going to weaken your team, because African players are brilliant.
Chelsea.
Once January comes around, like you say, look at that Chelsea team with Essien and Drogba and
Mikel
was there. Mikel, the team is decimated for a month. So you have to be careful, and you shouldn't have that risk. African players should have as much chance as anybody else from any other place in the world to go into a team, and you shouldn't have to be thinking, oh, I've got to have 3 Europeans, 3 South Americans because they might come back late from a plane. It's silly. So I think that realistically they should have it in the summer at night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock kickoffs to avoid the serious heat. Depending on the country, it's held in, while the Euros are on, while everybody else is playing international. Because stopping a season for a World Cup is one thing. You can't stop a season for an African Nations Cup, but it's very, very unfair for the teams that have the top African talent, in my opinion.
Listen, it's funny, like, and Anthony, chill. You make a very good comment here. I'm going to give you a take. You guys should tune into an AFCON sometimes. There's next level shithousery going on, especially during pens. Right, let me give you this one. So I'm West Indian. I hail from Jamaica, born here, family in Jamaica, but went to Jamaica when I was very young, lived there for a short period of time, go back every single year, obviously pre-COVID. So I consider myself as Jamaican. Yeah. The last time I was in Jamaica, I went to see a live football match. In fact, I watched a couple of live football matches. I was lucky enough to meet Ricardo Gardner, who is a fantastic individual. It was a pleasure meeting him. But I went to a live football match, and it's the equivalent of the playoffs. It was the equivalent of the playoffs to get into the Red Stripe Premier League, which is the main league in Jamaica. Yeah, mate, this went off. It was unreal. The football that was being played, the atmosphere, it was crazy. But one thing that made me laugh, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. A supporter ran on the pitch and assaulted the goalkeeper. Punched him square in the face.
Wow.
Knocked him out in front of everyone.
I know I'm laughing, but I'm just so shocked.
Mate, if I could find the video, I've got the video, of what it went off, mate. It went off. I'll find it and I'll post it on my Twitter. It went off, yeah. The goalkeeper got punched. It kicked off. The whole place went off. And I was with my cousins, and my cousins are like, just stay in the car. just stay in the car. Me and Sean, my wife, bless her, Tiago's mother, was like, able to just stay in the car. And I was like, rah, this is crazy. So yeah, I've experienced similar atmospheres and similar kind of shithouse behaviors. It's incredible to watch that kind of thing. So credit to like the AFCON. They do bring a vibe. They really, really do. Yeah. This one here from LJ, quick take on non-productive corners. Non-productive corners.
Do you mean just when Chamberlain takes it and doesn't beat the first man? That's basically.
Listen, Robbo's been guilty of a non-productive corner, if that's what we're referring to it as well. I'm a firm believer in short corners. I don't like raking balls into the box. I'm not a fan of it. The reason why I'm not a fan of it is because you concede possession cheaply. I like to retain possession. Yeah. If you hold on to the ball or you have more a short corner, you have more chance of building things up and retaining and fashioning another opportunity for a shot on goal, as opposed to throwing a ball into the box 50-50, kind of hoping for the best. Yes, we've got players which have athletic prowess in terms of their heading ability, but we're a team full of ballers. Why can't we retain the ball? I prefer that.
I'm probably the complete opposite, which is not it's not wrong, it's just a totally different philosophy. No. But yeah, I mean, it depends on the players that you have. You know, if you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, as we've said, the best deliverer of the ball in the Premier League, then you whip one in and you try and aim for Van Dijk's head, don't you? Let's be fair. You know, nothing frustrates me more than you see Van Dijk, Matip, Fabinho all going up for a corner. They take it short, and then all they're trying to do is get the cross in from a very similar position, but being closed down, and the cross never arrives. And you see Van Dijk running back, doing his little... What waste of time that was.
But you say that, though. Short corner routines are...
If you get it right...
it can be very, very good. You think... someone goes over, look, quick corners and short corners.
Yeah.
Against Barcelona.
Go on, take him quickly.
This is what I'm saying. It can produce wonder moments if it's executed correctly.
Yeah. I guess you've got to mix it up, haven't you, really?
Agreed. But guys, we're at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. You know, it's been another great show. Guys, please make sure you're locking in on Saturday, which will be the first Red Sea Full-Time over here on the Red Sea Podcast with myself and SS bringing you the vibes that is the Red Sea Full-Time show. Yeah, after the 7-0 win. What we got coming after that?
We're going to have to do an Everton preview show. That's going to be tasty. Yeah. Obviously, a Red Sea Full-Time Everton as well coming up. And I don't know if we're launching it tomorrow. It might be a week tomorrow, isn't it? The Premier League show that's coming shortly. Yes. I think that'll probably be next week now.
Yes, I agree. But guys, I've been Tiago's father. This has been the Southern Scouts at SS. Thank you for joining us here on the Red Sea Podcast for your Southampton preview show. Like I said, make sure you're locking in after the game. We'll be doing a match reaction straight after. Set your notifications just so you know when that's popping up. But it's been a pleasure having you here with us.
Thanks, guys.